I was horse herdsman at Texas Tech when I was a student there, and we had about 35 good brood mares. Most of these brood mares had been given to the college or the university. At that time it was a college, I think. Anyway, had given those mares as a seed stock for the college to have a good stock. And I lived there in the horse barn. And of course, they had a small place there where I slept and studied, and it was good and quiet. You could sure do lots of studying out there. And to kind of see about the horses, especially when the mares were foaling, if there was any problem, well, I'd be there to kind of watch that mare that foaled, and so it was really a pretty good job for me, and I guess pretty good for the university, because we sure had a good band of mares and some good colts. And there was in that band of mares was an R.A. Brown mare, which had been given by R.A. Brown, who was on the Board of Regents at that particular time, had given some of these mares to the college to help get this band of mares started. And she had this colt, which was a filly colt, and the colt was black, solid black, had I think one white foot maybe, but not very big, just a white splotch on it. She was solid black, and that looked like that could be the first Red Raider horse that Texas Tech owned. Up to that time, Joe Kirk Fulton, who his dad owned the R.H. Fulton Construction Company, had furnished a horse for the Red Raider to start. He started the tradition of riding a black horse into the arena, into the stadium before the Texas Tech ball games. So actually, after this mare got to be about a 2-year-old, she had grown out and developed into a fabulous horse, and she was fast. She could move, and her sire was Skippity Skip, which was a Hank Weiskamp horse, and he was actually had made some running horses. So she had a little bit of running blood in her, and I think it showed the way she moved. So they decided to make her into the first university-owned or college-owned Red Raider horse. And I rode her some, and Jim Cloyd, who was the first Red Raider besides Joe Kirk Fulton, had ridden her some, and she was real sensitive. She was very, very sensitive to her, and we were riding her with a hackamore. And you could get after her with that too much, and you had some problems, because she did not respond well to it. But as long as you just tapped it to her real easy, well, you'd get along all right. And she was a very beautiful horse. I mean, she was something else. She would just dazzle you. So they was going to have a tradition, and it was, I don't know what ball game it was, but Joe Kirk Fulton was going to ride the horse around the arena first, and then he was going to let Jim Cloyd, who was to take the reins of the Red Raider, he was going to ride around it. And then I told Joe Kirk, I said, before he got on her, I said, Joe Kirk, be careful. Don't sit down on that hackamore real hard, because I said, she is very sensitive to it. Well, he acted like he agreed to it, and so he got on and took off, and boy, of course, that's when Jones Stadium was on the flat. That's before they moved those big bleachers and dug a hole and stuck the football field in the hole. And it was just built on the flat ground, and he came around the arena, around the stadium, and was doing real well. She was handling it real well. But he got down close to the end, which I was standing down there, and Cloyd was there waiting to take his turn to go around. And lo and behold, he came flying in there, and she was moving. I'm telling you, she was moving on. And he sat down on those reins, and she went up in the air, spun over, and slid in on her side with him under her. Well, I thought, well, he's dead. You won't have to worry about him. So when she finally stopped, I jumped on her head. I was thoughtful enough to jump on her head to keep her from getting up.
Why do you do that, Jack?
Till we could get Joe Kirk undone, because Jim jumped over there and uncinched the saddle. Completely uncinched both cinches, and got Joe Kirk out from under her before I let her up, because she would have kicked him just sure as the world. Jumped up. So anyway, that was kind of a.
But tell them why you got on her head, Jack. People don't know.
Yeah, well.
How come you get on her head? People don't know.
Well, I just knew. I've been around horses enough to know when a horse gets down like that, they got to get their head up.
That's right.
If they can't get their head up, they can't get up.
That's right.
So the first thing I thought of was to get on her head.
Smart.
And I was pretty husky then. I weighed around 180 pounds, and she knew I was there. I might have said something to her. I don't know.
I imagine.
I'd probably begging her not to try to get
That's
her.
right. That's right. Anyway,
so that was
her back up.
That was the story there, and I lived out there, and after she became the official Red Raider horse, of course, we kept her out there, and a lot of people come by and we want to make a picture of the Red Raider horse and all that. Well, I understood, and the word got around that we were playing the Texas A&M Aggies at Jones Stadium, and they were coming to Lubbock to steal the horse. And I thought, well, we might need to kind of make it a little tougher for them. So I brought her in that evening after the pep rally and all of that hullabaloo that goes on, and it was getting dark, so I brought her in and put her in a stall, gave her a little hay, and put her in this stall. And these stalls inside this barn, there were stalls down each side and a hallway down the middle. They used them a lot when they stalled those old perching horses, when they had a band of perching mares there that they raised work stock. So put her in that stall, and then I locked it, took a log chain and a lock and locked it that day. And then I shut the door on the west end of the barn, and I pulled my pickup in the hallway and shut it down and locked it, and locked the east door, pulled it down and locked it, and I was sitting in there with a 12-gauge shotgun. I could hear them out there. Out there when they got good and dark, and I could hear them out there, and they were trying to find this mare. Of course, they had spotted her before, and they knew where she was, and she was in that front paddock out there in the front. You'll notice that barn sits there, and there's two paddocks right out in front of it, on each side, one on each side.
Yeah, we'll get a photo of that.
And she was out in one of those where people could see her. Well, I had put a bay mare in. At night, you can't tell.
A bay black.
A bay and a black,
That's
it's very
right.
hard to tell. So I heard them out there whispering around, well, we'll get her haltered there in a minute, and blah, blah, blah. I walked out that door, and I squeezed off around all that 12 gauge, and I'm telling you, they like to tore that paddock fence down. They're getting over it.
Hey, me. That put a stop to that night.
Stop that foolishness. I understood later they did steal her, and they branded a Texas TAM on her left side.
No, they didn't. Sure enough.
I think they did, yeah.
Seems like I hear that. I hadn't
That
heard
may not be right. I don't know.
Well, I mean, you know.
Well, I bet I can
We
find somebody
researched
that
it.
will
Oh, yeah.
verify that. And I'm not sure that you mentioned the horse's name.
Tech Beauty.
Tech Beauty.
Her official registered name was Tech Beauty.
All right.
And then there was a Tech Beauty number 1. No, she was Tech Beauty number 1. Then there was a Tech Beauty number 2, which came along later. And I don't know whether some of these girls that ride the horse now, they furnish their own horses. I don't know. It's become kind of a different. I thought it was a pretty neat sort of a tradition. I don't know. To me, I'm not sure that it's all that great today.
Yeah.
Of course, people go completely, totally berserk when that horse comes in. And now the way they've got it.
And Christian's about as bad as any I've ever seen.
Who?
And Christian,
really?
golly, dang.
Well, it didn't create that much turmoil in my heart. I just said, well,
That's right. It's a whole.
I just went to school there because it was a good school, and I wanted to have a degree in agriculture, and that's the only reason I went there. I wasn't a rah-rah alumni, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, me as well.
We ain't donating the next million to him, are we, Jack?
Huh?
We ain't donating the next million to that school, are we?
I'm not, no. Okay, did that tell anything you wanted told?
Well, I think that's good for now. I would like to get a video.
Okay,
All right.
this is a painting that a young lady that was a friend of mine at Texas Tech, and she painted this for me while I was horse herdsman there. This was the old horse barn. It was an old wooden structure, and it was it was built during an era when they were had their own draft stock. They had stalls all the way around it on either side, and then they had paddocks all the way around where they could turn over, and then we had pastures that out west of it that we turned them out in for exercise and grazing. And it was quite an old structure, and historically old structure, but it's long since been gone. I think the business administration building is there now.
Jack,
And that may be one of the few living pictures of it that we still have that I know of. And I wasn't there when they tore it down or anything. I would have probably cried. I thought a lot of they were I lived right there in that little apartment there. Studied, it was quiet, I could study, and made pretty good grades.
And that was painted, what, in 1957?
I believe it was, yes. That's the year I graduated from Tech. I think she gave it for graduation, maybe. I don't know.
And I came along 30 years later. All right, thank you very much, Jack.
You bet. Well, I really was proud of it, and I had it framed, and the frame is not becoming to it. I thought if Tech was kind of decent, I'd be glad to have it reframed and give it to them, but they kind of act sort of horsey about things.